Neil's busy looking at the live timing on the World Superbike app. Can't actually get it going.
Which I can't recommend. The Superbike app is really rubbish.
Hello and welcome to Gas It Out on a bit of a slightly different format, a bit of the way we're doing it this weekend, because as you will probably know, this weekend there is MotoGP in Brno, there is World Superbike going on in Portimao, there is British Superbike going on up the road from us here at Triumph HQ in Hinckley, they're at Donington this weekend, Moto America's riding this weekend, it is Formula One is down the road in Silverstone, absolutely wild weekend of motorsport action. So you'll see we actually don't have a guest here because everyone was busy. We spoke to a few people, didn't we, this week, and everyone was either on the way to a paddock or travelling to somewhere or getting already going for their race weekend. So we thought we can't let you not have a Gas It Out this week, can we? But there's so much to talk about. We thought we'd just do a little short version to keep you in the loop of everything that's going on with us. How are you, Neil, anyway?
Good, thank you, Gav. It's nice here at Triumph, isn't it? You get to see what it looks like. This is where we do the commentary.
Yeah, you might be able to see just behind us. Yeah, we've got our each individual booths that we have. And so we're all separated up. We're at either end of the sofa, as you can see. That is about 2 metres. I've got a very, very long arm. Honestly. It's actually a beautiful... This is the visitor experience, and you can see behind us there's a Triumph up on the tables, all the gear that Neil's been trying to stick a T-shirt in his bag every single day that we've been here. Is that Emlav in the background? Is he sneaking about? There he is, look, you've got Michael Laverty all thrown in. That's free. Not charging you for that.
No, we're not going to charge you for Michael. Well, I've charged you for nothing anyway.
All his boffin info. Yeah. You got any boffin? Right.
Yeah, boffin starts.
It's a busy weekend, isn't it, Neil? So much going on in the world of motorbike racing. And I just want to remind you of something he said when we first did Gas It Out, and we were under lockdown, that we wouldn't have any racing this year.
God,
we've got everything going on this weekend.
But it never looked like we were going to at that point.
You're right, you're absolutely right.
And it's funny because my argument, and it's almost, thankfully I'm wrong, by the way, obviously, but my argument was, me and Victoria, my girlfriend, talked about it. I'm like, yeah, but if there's no cure for coronavirus, there's going to be no racing, because I can't see how this is all of a sudden going to stop. And actually, as we're seeing now with slight second waves, sort of on the way, you can sort of see.
Yeah, see how it's
very, very tricky, isn't it? So.
And it seems to me as though there's a little bit of a thing going on whereby this is going to actually, however much coronavirus keeps going, the sport will continue to rumble on. It's almost like in its own little bubble, it can keep going, and people sort of don't mind it and quite like the fact that it keeps rumbling on. The same with football. There might not be any fans in. It's not ideal, but so much can go on. You're going to switch the sound off. That was his phone. You might have heard beeping in the background. Ever the professional. But
the way I feel, Gav, is we are so on the edge. Like we are a bad week away from it being the end of MotoGP for this year.
Really?
That's how I feel. So I know you obviously feel the opposite.
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's one of those things that will rumble on. For example, in football, Aberdeen, when there's been a little outbreak, 9 of their players are not playing in the return of the Scottish Premiership this week because they've all were in a bar and they've been in that track and trace, so they can't play, but they're still playing. Does that make sense? It's not like it's in Formula One. Sergio Perez went home, didn't he? And he's missed the race last week. Nico Hülkenberg's replacing him, and it's happening again. Nico Hülkenberg, because he's against the protocol. So it's almost like you fall foul of the rules. Right. You're not going to take part.
But even if you have a test and they go, well, you haven't got it.
Yeah, but it's because it's all to do with you could still have it. The test is only.
Oh, there's no guarantee.
It only works on that moment, doesn't it, in time? So, things will still go on without the people who get affected, which, I don't know, I'm not saying a pros or a cons, but it seems like sport will rumble on its little bubble, is the way that I see things. Let's talk about MotoGP going on in Brno this weekend with no Marc Marquez.
Yeah.
Although it looked like he was coming back. It looked like he was going to be fit. He's done his gym work. Yeah. Here he is, there's a drunkard coming in.
Ugly people wandering around here. Look how ugly this man is. Look at that. No, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a false nose and glasses. That is really his nose.
For those of you who are watching, you'll be able to see over our shoulder
The famous Keith Ewan. I know what you're thinking. I can't believe a man that old can still walk. But I know, it's true. At 75, I tell you what, sprightly bugger.
Doing all right.
Live on his feet. Here he is. Get away, give over.
So Keith's on in the background. We'll carry on regardless. Those of you who are listening just to the audio of this, you won't notice the difference. You won't hear him in the background there, unless he starts commentating. We're not on air, are we?
No, we're not on air. We're all right.
We're sort of in between sessions here. But no Marc Marquez, right? So the official line from Alberto Puig is he damaged his arm, the titanium plate in his arm, while opening a big window, like French patio door at home. Now, I don't know the tensile strength of titanium, right? But isn't it one of the hardest metals known to man?
Yes, it is.
And that's why you often get it.
One of the lightest, strongest
materials there. So
known to man.
How many times have you broken bones opening your patio doors at home?
Numerous times. I mean, it's very dangerous. And I want to take this opportunity to say to everyone at home,
try this at
be
home.
really careful.
Don't try this.
A window, pulling a door shut. I mean, clearly, it can't be right. This can't be the truth.
So the way I see it is, there's also almost been a mistranslation of the plate isn't damaged, that it's been dislodged or something's happened.
Right.
That's the way I read it. Like, I can actually appreciate that. When you yank something on a patio door and it's quite heavy, that if you've got a brake in your arm and the screws either side of it, that you could affect the brake, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But to actually damage the plate, I don't think is a possibility.
No. Maybe, obviously, this door was the straw that brought the camel's back, but it's nothing to do with the door, is it?
No. Is
it the motocross crash that he had 10 minutes before? Do you know what I mean? But do you think this then, right? Genuinely, do you think Honda would announce, Mark's had another operation because he's crashed his motocross bike? There's one thing we know. Marquez's go-to training method is motocross. That's how he can judge, am I strong enough, am I fit enough to be able to race? We've seen him in the gym. You saw footage if you follow him on social media.
Have a look on Instagram if you haven't seen it.
He's rowing with one arm, obviously his bad arm, to show, just everything he did in the gym looked really impressive.
Yeah.
So what would the logical next step for him to be?
To try.
Go on his dirt track or go on a motocross bike. And he's fast, obviously, at both.
And he won't be doing it by halves because he's testing out if his arm's any good on a MotoGP.
Exactly. So if he's gone down hard, potentially that's it. So, you know what I mean? It's bizarre, really, that it's happened. But Honda are obviously embarrassed about the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
well, you can understand why, can't you? That their lead rider, who they signed on a contract for 4 more years, is out. He's come back and it's not quite worked. I just wonder. The thing that gets me, I want to know, is where do Honda draw the line? Where do Honda say, right, that's it? But you are our asset. We're paying you millions of pounds. We're doing it for the next 4 years. Where does Alberto Puig or Yokoyama or the bosses, the presidents at HRC, when do they put their foot down and go, no, Mark, no, sorry, you can't keep trying to come back. It's not worth it.
Well, that'd be now, wouldn't it?
Is it?
You look at, imagine this. And obviously, we're not exaggerating. We're talking £100 million. Euros, doesn't really matter, does it? Euros or pounds?
What investment in the whole project? Yeah.
That's £100 million
in
investment
him over the 4 years.
In that.
Good point.
So at this point, the season's gone. So if I was the boss of Honda, I'd be going, what on earth are you playing at? Why are you trying to even think about getting our £100 million asset? Think about it this way, right? And people won't like me saying this. If he was a footballer, they would have wrapped him in cotton wool. And I know you're like, but footballers this and that. Yeah, but we're talking about an injury here for Marquez that could be career-ending.
Yeah, but that's it. He's their golden goose, isn't he?
Yeah.
Effectively. So you're right.
It's
you think they were doing that.
So
So how come he came back at Jerez then straight away?
Because there was still a chance at that point to win this World Championship. And there's no way he wanted to go 50 points behind. Because it was pretty... Well, I thought it was pretty odds on that Quartararo was going to be first or second in the race, so you knew he was going to get big points.
But as you saw, there were only 13 finishes, and it might have been 3 points that Mark may have picked up. That's what Cal did, even though he came in and had his his little break.
I'm actually I'm not criticising him for having a go. By the way, this is a chat of what's happened.
No. Yeah,
I totally get.
And I'm being devil's advocate here, coming from Honda's point of view, because obviously I think it was incredible what he tried, incredible what Alex Rins and Cal Crutchlow did over the weekend in Jerez.
This is the point where Honda should say, right, don't even think about, because you think there's a chance that he might be at the next round or the round after, which is next week or the week after next. If I was Honda, I'd be like, no way, let's get this is the point where settled,
you say,
100%.
But my point is that I think that you say there's a glimmer of opportunity in the championship. I still think with Portugal being added to the end of the year, we think it's Portimao, we're almost certain it's Portimao. Hasn't all been confirmed yet, but there's an extra, there's a 14th round in the championship. So I'm thinking, after Brno, 3 races down, still 11 to go. He won the championship by 150 points last year. If he can muddle through Brno and Austria, if he can muddle through Austria, he's got 2 weekends off in between those races. I can still be in this championship, and we could have a right old battle at places that I know I can go well at, I know I can win at.
A lot of it depends.
So that it's back to your original point from Jerez. He tried it because he still felt the championship was alive.
You're saying it's not a closed door. It depends what happens this weekend.
Yeah, and also you're looking at Yamaha's engine situation.
Yeah, but still, if Quartararo wins, I get that. But if he's got 75 points, after 3 rounds, you're like...
but we've seen it in the past. He might have an injury. There's always a chance, isn't there? The door is always open.
If I was his manager...
Personal manager or team manager?
Personal manager. Emilio, I'd be saying, this is the time you have to listen to us, as opposed to... He's always listened to himself, and it's always worked for him. Now it's the time to say, let's think about the longevity of your career. He's 27 years old. If he wants, he's got 10 years of winning world championships ahead of him. But if he makes, he's had 2 operations now on this arm. If the bone starts to go brittle, you know what I mean,
or it doesn't knit properly together.
Yeah. You could end up, and obviously there's the nerves down there. I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong. So.
Yeah, I think I do agree with you. I'm just trying to put across the point of view of you've been in that situation. You're Mark.
You never agree with me.
If you were Mark and you were a rider, you'd be trying, wouldn't you?
No, not the second time.
No.
I think it's like, all right, I've tried it. It's not worked out, and I'm lucky to sort of get away with it. No, that's it.
Right. Okay, that's done. What do you make then of this Yamaha situation? And we're not going to get all technical in here, but the Yamaha engine situation. Maverick's on his 5th engine out of 5. Talks are they're going to ask for an extra engine for this extra Portugal round. Whether they'll get it or not, I don't think so, because the other manufacturers will be seeking an opportunity to rein them in a little bit. They're on a 5th engine that's got to get through another 12 rounds.
No, they've not got 1 engine left.
Not got 1 engine left.
That's how it sounds like. They're on their 5th engine.
No, but they've already cracked open the 5th engine. They've already used it in a practice. So they can't, there's nothing they can do. They've got the 4 engines in play. One of them's gone. Yeah. The first couple, though, it looks like they're not touching at the moment because they've sent one back for analysis and it's got this issue. Is it a concern?
Yeah, it's a massive concern because there's something... Is it a sensor or something?
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying, an exhaust sensor.
But obviously they're not going to tell you, are they really?
Yeah, no. That could be absolute bobbins. It could be...
That could be like the door. You know what I mean? It could be.
Completely. No, it was actually a catastrophic issue.
Yeah.
But they're not going to say, our engines, Yamaha,
Pistons
what we
are disintegrating.
when we build them, they're just not quite right. But
But no, it is a concern because I think we all know, obviously this is Yamaha's opportunity to win a title again. Obviously they won in 2015 with Lorenzo, but obviously the dominance of Honda, Marquez. So they'll be panicking, and you get to a track like obviously the next weekend Austria, where it's all about horsepower. Those bikes are ragged, aren't they? Down those straight, and especially the uphill straight that's got a kink at the end. So you lean the bike in, it sort of lowers the gear in, so the bike revs more. Back-to-back weekends there.
Yeah, really stressing an engine.
Yeah, that'll stress the engine much more than the hot temperatures in Jerez.
Oh, do you think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, okay.
Because
we saw Ducati go well as well, didn't we, with Pecco Bagnaia? I'm thinking, it must be the engines having to deal with the stresses, but also on top, it's got no cooling.
Yeah, I don't think that's a massive part because MotoGP bikes run at a real high temperature anyway, and the difference between... I don't think it was anything to do with the heat, in my opinion.
There he is.
So
Okay.
There he is, expert.
Proper tech geek.
Yeah.
Over there. Nothing
I'm
to
not
do.
buying it. Yeah, nothing to do with it. No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was.
That's fair enough. Well,
So,
yeah,
we'll see when we get to Austria when the Yamaha's
all right, we will see.
Yeah.
All right, chill
It
out.
won't be-
Just a quick word. I don't want to, because we've got so much other things to talk about, and we don't want to make this a massively long one without a guest. We do apologise. There's the whole point of Gas It Out in the first place.
No, we're going to have Chris Walker,
every
but he's
he's
at Cadwell
riding
today in his sidecar. I didn't know he was doing the sidecar again. Fair
Yeah.
play to him. I mean, bloody hell, I couldn't think of anything worse.
That's
No,
what was it you said to me before that you would pay
Oh,
money?
yeah, that's what I
I would
said.
pay money.
You know how much I don't want to do something if I'm going to pay money. I would pay a lot of money not to have to
Sidecar.
drive the sidecars. Nothing against sidecars. It's just at Chris's age. I mean, I'm 46, so Chris must be
63.
no, but it must be 49 to get in a sidecar.
I'll be
and
getting
still-
some hate mail off Stalker now.
and still give it some. No, but I texted him back when he said it.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to Cadwell. I went, bloody hell, mate, you've got some balls.
The
Which I knew about anyway.
Yeah, the people who will be listening to this who've been asking for us to get Chris Walker on, we were hoping it'd be nice with the start of BSB this weekend. And we were speaking to Shaky as well, who we're going to have on the podcast at some point, but everyone's so busy at the moment with everything going on. But they'll be thinking, what, you and Chris Walker exchange text messages?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
you
well,
absolutely hate each
well,
other. Can you send him a shit in an envelope through a text message?
Yeah, I've done that. No, I mean, obviously when I raced against Chris,
Yeah.
we bloody proper didn't get on, really hated each other. But a proper old school rivalry.
Yeah.
I was talking about this yesterday. One thing about racing, I love it when people don't get on. I don't like it when they're all mates, bosom buddies, and
Well, that's why it never worked in MotoGP when you had Stoner, Pedrosa, Lorenzo, and they all sort of got on a little bit. There used to be a bit of needle between Danny and Hort, and it sort of sterilised it a little bit, didn't it? And then
Same
you
in
get
World
someone
Superbikes for a
like
bit.
Marc Marquez in, who upsets the apple cart, and suddenly you're all off again, aren't you?
No, I like it when people don't get on because it just
Yeah.
makes it, the story's even better, isn't it?
Yeah. Just a quick word on, obviously Mark's not riding, but what about what Alex Rins did to 10th place when he's
Unreal.
still got a fracture in his shoulder, and Cal with a recently operated on scaphoid, he had to pull in because it was actually his right arm which was swelling up. It's incredible, isn't it, what we see the riders do. We've had Cal on the podcast before, we know what sort of character he is, and I don't know, different breed.
Yeah. Honestly, the shoulder one for Rins is unbelievable. Having
You
destroyed
were
my
saying
shoulder.
sort of ended your career.
Ended my
wasn't it?
career because of the rotator cuffs being detached, breaking my shoulder blade, just making a real mess of it. It's no end like it's now probably, as far as strength wise, if I was to do like a shoulder press, well, I can't do a shoulder press because I can't get my shoulder into the right position. I can't even do it with 2 kilos. So I mean, Rins, I mean, it's incredible. That
Yeah, he's saying you can only now get it to 90 degrees.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, he wanted to do that.
So he can't. He can only. He's, after 2 weeks physio, I can get there now.
Well, and what he's saying is, what did he say? If I crash, they've told me
70-80% chance
that'll dislocate
it'll
again.
dislocate. It'll go
And
out.
that'll be season done then. If it comes out again,
Yeah.
because he's already got a tear.
He
in
says
his-
it's not worth having an operation.
No, because you're out for 3 months.
You're out then for a long time. So
But impressive, just seeing the riders. I mean, you could argue saying, well, they've no choice. They've got to come back 'cause it's a short season. No, they have got a choice, you know. And someone like Rins especially, he's got a contract.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's safe. But it's that Rins's theory was the same as Marquez's. Rins was one of the favourite for the title.
and he's still saying it.
So-
well, mathematically, it's still an opportunity.
Yeah.
And he hasn't gone bad in first practices in Brno either. So credit to him. Credit to Cal Crutchlow. Of course, he's sort of. I don't know whether he's looking for a ride. I'm sure he'd be also happy if he was.
No, Cal is looking for a ride as well, and that's why he rode.
Yeah.
You know.
But
no,
what
but
I mean
Cal,
is
I understand it more for Cal that because Cal's like, no, I still want to.
I've still got the desire to do this.
Yeah,
sort
and
of
to
thing.
show to all the teams.
Yeah.
Where Rins could have sat back.
Just now, where do you see Cal going?
It'll have to be Aprilia, won't it?
There was some I read on a couple of websites about Honda World Superbike. Could you ever see him doing something?
Well,
like
I
that?
spoke to Cal 3 months ago now, maybe 2.5 months ago, and he said, I definitely don't want to go to World Superbikes.
Yes, but is he? But
things change. I know.
Things can change. You know, if you've seen how things have gone. Let's go on to World Superbike, who are obviously out in Portimao. How are they doing in practice, Johnny? At this moment in time, while we're doing this,
might be a bit of a shock. Johnny's fastest.
Who? Jonathan
Ria.
Jonathan Ria.
Ria, is it? I don't rate him.
But Loris Baz and he's up there as well, isn't he?
Somebody called Alex Lowe's my man's in 8th, so we're 0.9 off.
But what we saw in Jerez was in the first race, actually Honda not too bad. Second race didn't quite go right for Leon or for Alvaro Bautista. But I just wonder whether he'd be looking at that, thinking that's a project I want to be involved in more than Aprilia.
See, if I was Cal. See, the whole Cal story is a difficult one, right? Because if you're Cal, the question you've to answer is why.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah.
So one of the main reasons people go racing later on or continue their career is financial. It's like, go into World Superbikes, maybe do 2 or 3 years there.
But I guarantee 100% if you suggested that to any rider, they'd say no, that is not an issue. I'm doing it for the desire.
And that's the beauty of doing this podcast, because I can tell the truth. So I know what riders say to me. I know that's how it works, you know. So that's one of the questions. So the question is, does Cal need the money? Well, going off what he's earned over the past
he's had
15 years.
A few years in 8 years, is it, in MotoGP?
Yeah, basically he doesn't need the money. So you have to go there for one reason, to think you can be world champion. What he doesn't want is to go head to head with Jonathan Rea, because basically now, if Cal retires next year, he can say, well, of my era, I was the best British motorcycle racer. Obviously winning
three MotoGP
races. Last person to win a MotoGP race, Premier Class win, was Barry Sheene. You know what I mean? You can't argue with these facts. But if he goes head to head with Johnny and Johnny beats him, then no amount of money can make up for the disappointment of being beaten by Jonathan Rea. So he'll sit there and think, well, do I want to put myself up against Johnny in his championship on, Johnny's on the Kawasaki?
Your answer to that is no.
No, absolutely not.
So you think Aprilia's...
But don't get me wrong, then, not to contradict myself, I don't think Cal's not doing World Superbikes because he's scared of Johnny.
No.
But it's all these... So he doesn't need the money anyway. It's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
His daughter's about to start school
in the States,
and he wants to be wherever she is. He don't want to be travelling. And then there's also the risk of having to go against, not going according to plan.
So yeah, you do though see Aprilia happening? Yes,
yeah, they need him, don't they? They
just
can't develop a bike.
So is there enough of a challenge there? That's sort of what I'm getting at. That's, if you're coming around, or you think there's
a great challenge, because there'll be the financial reward, which my argument still
comes into it somewhere.
Yeah, but he still doesn't need the money, but. He does. He said to us he wants to continue racing, so he can continue racing there. He can. I mean, the bar's set really low.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
True.
So he can go there. He's a great development rider. Obviously, that's what Honda loved about him. Aleix is a terrible development rider. Aleix is put your mortgage on him biting the screen, put your mortgage on him being inconsistent all season, and don't put your money on him developing a bike, because he just can't, can he? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, that bike's gone backward, really, since Bradl and Bautista. And Bautista got off it in 2000.
Bradl's now testing for HRC, and Bautista's done well with the Ducati he was up again, leading a Honda charge there.
That team needs Cal, I'd say.
Yeah, be interesting to see what happens.
It'll make sense. It would make sense for... Put it this way, if I was in part of the management, I'd be trying to get hold of him.
And Ducati's a no-go. I'd have thought he's been there, done that, right? But this is where that Ducati seat becomes interesting. I've spoken to Pecco Bagnaia this week, and Pecco feels that he's got a shot at the factory bike. It doesn't matter, but he's got a shot at it.
Which he has.
I think he has, after what he did. Dovy's obviously in for it. And now, with what Scott Redding's done in World Superbike, I'm not saying winning your first 2 races means instantly you're in the picture. But it's put him back on the radar. At 27 years of age, he's still the same as Marc Marquez in terms of age. Would there ever be a scenario in which Scott continues his run and challenges for the championship in World Superbike and gets a shot in MotoGP again, bearing in mind that he's been through Ducati.
Yeah. Well, I'm smiling because I love you. You're like, well, I think...
Needle.
Yeah, you're just like... The problem for Scott is the whole paddock in MotoGP know Scott Redding. They've seen him, so they know what they're going to get. So he did 5 years in MotoGP. He did years on the Honda that were terrible.
On not a great bike.
On not a great bike.
And on the Ducati it wasn't...
No, but then on the Ducati he went head-to-head with Petrucci and Petrucci beat him. So then that's what the team will see.
So I just want to give a shout-out to Matthew Nicholas Roberts. You might have heard of him. He presents on Eurosport. He'll be in Donington at the moment talking about British Superbike and World Superbike.
Nicholas.
There you go. I was chatting to him in the car on the way down. We had a long chat.
Because you're really good mates, aren't you?
Yeah, just hanging out with my buddy. And no, but we were chatting about this, and I said the same things, and he goes, "Yeah, but don't you think?" And I thought it was a really good point, and he made it on air for Eurosport at the weekend. Don't you think that Scott's learned from those bad experiences at Ducati and Aprilia?
I do.
And built. So why is the MotoGP paddock so myopic? Why does it often look like it?
Let me just Google that.
Short-sighted. Why do they not look at the fact that someone can improve?
Myopic. Whoever's listening to this will be like, what's myopic? Anyway, go on.
Yeah, but why do team managers then in MotoGP have that when people can improve and learn from mistakes?
I agree, 100%. You asked me, do you think...
Yeah, I
know.
know.
I said no. You didn't say, what's your opinion as in... Say, what I think is...
But I agree with you 100%.
When Scott's clearly found a lot of confidence, he could go back into that MotoGP paddock and be impressive. 100%. I don't question that for a second. Right? But the paddock won't allow him in.
Why is that then?
Because of what I've said. They've seen him for 5 years in MotoGP. And unfortunately...
Is it politics then?
No, it's not politics. It's just like they're not looking at him. And also what the whole paddock thinks is Ducati built a MotoGP bike to take to World Superbikes. They're not cheating. It's within the rules. The Ducati's the best bike.
Yeah, it's in production, so yeah.
If you watch the races, the Ducati's the best bike in World Superbikes. It really is. It was last year. I mean, it won races by 16 seconds with Bautista on it, and Bautista's now on the Honda, and he's finishing 26 seconds behind the winner. Now, Bautista didn't learn how to ride a bike last year, and he hasn't forgotten how to ride a bike this year. But that's the fact. But I see that. But so do the team managers in MotoGP see that. So where they're looking is they're not looking there at Scott. They're looking this way at the Moto2 boys, going, right, Jorge Navarro, 22 years old. Wow, look how he pushes really hard, and that's why it'll be hard for Scott.
Yeah, but that's what everyone's talking about, aren't they? After 2 wins, let's talk about a bit of World Superbike. They're out in Portimao now. He's got 2 wins under his belt, topping the standings. I'm so impressed. We had him on the podcast, and it's our most successful episode to date. If you haven't heard the Scott Redding episode, go back and listen to it.
It's brilliant.
He's
open and
honestly
honest.
Superb. Yeah. And if you weren't a fan of him before, or you've become a fan of him since BSB, or you didn't like him in MotoGP, honestly, I recommend listening to it, because we learned stuff, and we've known him since he was 15 years of age. I thought it was great, but. The drive that you felt from that interview and the build-up of confidence.
You believed him.
Yeah.
We came off, I spoke to you, didn't I, straight away, and I'm like, my God, I think he's got... Before we'd spoke to him, there was no way he was going to beat Johnny Ray in my head. And then after it, I'm like, well, but I'm a bit of a believer now, and obviously he backed it up. There's nothing better than backing up what you've predicted. And he clearly looks a real deal. And
it's like he was made to ride a superbike, and all this time he's been he challenged for Moto2 World Championship. He won Grand Prix.
Do you know, I beat Marquez in a few head-to-head races as well in Moto2. I remember watching one at Silverstone. You'll remember probably what year it was. It was incredible.
2012.
Yeah.
2012, I think it was. Yeah, when he was on the Mark VDS, and it was Mark's championship. But it's like, with his size, I don't know, like maybe made to ride Superbike. How many tall riders are there, by the way, in Superbike?
Loads,
at the moment, I think of him, Loris Baz, Van der Mark, Chaz Davies.
Yeah.
I'm thinking all these big lads.
I'm looking down now
doing
at the
the
list
business.
in front of me.
Not Alvaro Bautista.
No. Or Leon
Or
Haslam.
Leon Haslam. Honda have gone. Yeah, let's go.
Well, that Honda's
MotoGP
small,
style.
isn't it? It is small. So.
Yeah, but I was so impressed by him at the weekend, seeing him race in Jerez in tricky conditions and cool head. I still remember him pulling in a overheating in a Moto2 race in Malaysia one year, and he's just the change. Someone who's changed his whole philosophy.
Yeah. I still think Johnny's going to win the championship.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That
though there's still it's quite a lot of points behind.
He's
20 odd points behind.
Yeah.
Just with Jonathan, I've watched him all his career. He just doesn't make mistakes. I know he did. He crashed at the first round
in Phillip Island,
but he'd been nerfed off the track. He was back through. But I know, but not to contradict myself, but he rarely makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And if there's a mixed weather weekend, there's no one faster. If it's damp, there's no one faster.
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
But how exciting
it's
that
great.
we've got, especially
really
with World
good.
Superbikes, because we've had some, I wouldn't say boring years, but it's not been that entertaining. It's been quite predictable.
It's been hard to Johnny's gone and wiped the floor with people, or if before Tom Sykes had a great year and no one could match him that year. So you sort of think, okay, here we go. We've got two Brits battling it out. It's going to be good, and they're not the only ones involved. Chaz had a great ride. I was so impressed by Chaz in Jerez. When there's a few people thinking he's not doing things, and he came back well in both. He actually was unlucky in that first race, wasn't he? But Alex, your man, doing well consistently. Top Rack's an exciting character, isn't he?
Top Rack's one of them. He's a bit like Marquez. I could just watch Top Rack ride on his own. The way
quirky, isn't he?
Yeah, the way he rides, he's got some funny lines, but the bike's always on the move. He backs it in a lot.
Backs it in massively.
Looks like he loses the front quite a bit, but he's definitely all action. He's not shy, is he?
No. I wonder if he's got that off keen enough.
You wouldn't want to race with him. He's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of them though. Top Rack. You tip it into the corner and he comes slithering up the other side.
Well, he did that, didn't he? A couple of times where he just taken this bizarre old lines. So World Superbike's looking great, and we're all excited to see what pans out there in Portimao. And we better talk about quickly, because BSB's back, which is amazing, isn't it? Really, when we thought no fans for the foreseeable, which is a shame, because they thought they were going to be able to get a few through the door, didn't they? Through the year, but we've talked about it a little bit before about who Scott Redding's heir might be in BSB. Are you still focused on Josh Brooks?
Yeah, I mean, he would have to be the title favourite. He's in the best team, on the best bike. He is. You can't argue. Yeah. People might want to argue. You can't argue. That Ducati is just a weapon. It really is. It stops better than the other superbikes. It accelerates better. It's got more top speed. And it actually turns as well. So it's got the full house. Ex-champion Josh Brooks, won it in the past.
Been there, done that.
I think he's 37 years old now, but clearly still wants it.
Does it change things, the fact you don't have a showdown? It doesn't change your approach, really?
No, I mean, obviously it's the same for everyone, but I just think it's everybody. Well, no, it does change it actually. Where it changes it is, you can't start slow.
You can't get an injury.
You can't think, well, it's all right. I'll build into the season, but make sure, as long as I'm consistent. You've got to be podiums every weekend to have a go at winning this championship.
Who are you excited about seeing in BSB?
I'm excited about watching Taron McKenzie. Obviously, he's a good mate.
Yeah.
And I've seen what he's done this this year.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of training with him. Not that, I don't mean that in any way, like riding, not training as in physically, but I know mentally he's in a really good place. Physically, he's best he's ever been. And he's hungry, he's angry in all the right ways, in a nice way, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but yeah, so I'm really excited to see him. He's well up for it.
Yeah.
And then the beauty of BSB is, what I love is, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's always someone
bit of an unknown. So you wonder if Christian Eden could suddenly,
obviously,
on the right
bike,
have a chance. He's been campaigning for years, but
Danny Buchan
full
on the
of
Kawasaki, going well. Looks
Tommy Bridewell.
Tommy Bridewell, obviously it's same team.
What a character. Hey, good job if Tommy hears this or anyone speaks to him. Good job on the telly the other day. Natural, absolute natural.
I just love listening to him. It just makes me smile.
He does
because he's just different in a nice way, Yeah. So I think it's
Ryan Vickers. I'm quite excited
Ryan
about
Vickers.
Ryan Vickers. I like
Roger
him.
Burnett manages him.
Nice
I've
kid.
just talked about him for a long time.
What a nice kid.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's one of them. Name your top 3 for Donington. I haven't got a clue.
It's
Really,
so
you know what I mean?
true,
'Cause it could be anyone. Storm Stacey's moved up to it, which is brilliant. He was 16 at the start of the year, so he's going to be 17 years old.
And he's
doing
a
his first
character.
BSB. I don't think Storm will be at the front.
No.
Because obviously he's such a young kid, but it'll be entertaining.
It'd be exciting.
There were some good stand-up wheelies anyway. And he's obviously someone to watch out. He's like your subplot. Keep your eye on Storm to see how he works his way up throughout the year. Can he get some top 10 finishes?
Yeah.
If he can, wow, it'll be amazing. It's just turned 17.
Yeah, and that's something I want to go on then, because we'll go back. It's going to filter us all the way back to MotoGP in a way. Is Cal with his injury has sort of opened up. Bradley's standing in at Aprilia, but you can't see that that's going to turn into a permanent ride there. Sam Lowe's has come back and looked great in the first 2 at Jerez, which we're delighted about. Jake Dixon still finding his feet, but getting there slowly but surely. And John McPhee's had a fantastic start. So I'm thinking of Storm Stacey, who's done British Talent at one point. He's come through as a youth and always been exciting from a young age. Where's our Brit to take over from Cal if Cal were not to be there? Is it Jake Dixon, or is it Scott, or is it someone that we're not talking about? Yeah, who's in the Grand Prix paddock?
All of the above, everyone you've mentioned, plus the handful. Let's say there'll be 3 or 4 really quick riders that will come through the British Talent Cup.
Right.
That at the moment look good, but not great. But they're 16 years old or 15 years old. But they will come. And what's funny is you look back. I remember watching BSB in the mid 2000s, watching Johnny Ray, Tom Sykes, Cal, Walker. Obviously, Chris was
still there.
Stalker's in the middle of them all. I remember them all beating Chris at one time. Keogh was there, obviously, at the time, and Leon Haslam. But they were beating Chris Walker, and I'm like, bloody hell, what's Walker doing letting them young lads beat him? You know what I mean? Like, but look how the names I've mentioned
blossom.
Yeah, but at the time, because they were relatively new names, it was hard to realise how fast they were, and that's where I think we're at the moment with Taron McKenzie's.
It's a bit of a transition.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just wonder where do we look in terms of age-wise? You know what it's like? They're very ageist in MotoGP.
Yeah, it's
someone like Storm.
Yeah,
who's 17. If he could, I don't know, have a couple of results, and then someone in World Superbike goes.
No, absolutely. Hey, if Storm won races, not this year, he ain't going to win races this year. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. But got into a better team for next year, more of an A team in BSB, battles for a championship. He's 18 years old and he's hot property.
Yeah.
Isn't he? You know what I mean?
And which Jake Dixon, in his own way, he's still young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And was in the same way. He came through, and someone from Moto2 said, well, and obviously Frankie, his manager, was having a look around, worked in Grand Prix, and said, look, get yourself over at a young age. That's what needs to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Someone at a young age to switch across to Moto2.
Yeah. But like I said, we have got Ryan Vickers, we've got Taron McKenzie, who's not that old. I don't know if the problem is you end up looking at superbikes, don't you?
Yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah, because Taron's 23, 4. He probably ain't going to go to MotoGP.
No.
So
that's why I was just the thought of Storm at 17. You sort of think, I thought, he was 16, wasn't he, when starting the year? So you sort of
think. Who's going really well. Bear in mind they've only tested, so there's been no races yet. But Rory Skinner, who I've always rated.
But I've always rated him.
And he's had all these chances, but he's had his chances. Yeah, he had his chances, and actually did well.
Yeah, he did right, actually.
Won Rebel rookie races, beating top doers.
Who are now
in MotoGP.
Yeah.
Like Silabine, or maybe not.
No, Labine, he was there 3 or 4 years ago. But
there's Martin, people like that, didn't he?
Well, no, he was a bit after.
Exactly after that. Anyway.
A bit after Martin's time.
But he ain't done. He's not done.
But did Gian Antonio?
Yeah, they're beating him. Yeah, so he isn't done. You know what I mean? Rory Skinner's now doing Supersport 600 in England, and is my tip for the title. If he wins that championship, then he'll get a really good BSB ride. And how old is he? 17, 18?
Yeah, he'll be a similar, 18.
So we have got young talent.
Yeah, it's just getting them, finding them through in the right way. Right, we said we'd do a shorter episode. Where are we at? Let's have a look there. Oh, we've got 39 minutes. I
Perfect.
think that'll be all right.
Yeah, good length.
I hope you've been able to hear it all right and not been too distracted by
good length
people in the background.
Sound check.
So yeah, thank you for listening again. We're going to call it there. It's not our normal episode. The whole point of Gas It Out was to speak to people and try and do it around the lockdown and find out things that we can't find out. With there being every motorcycle race series on this weekend in terms of road racing, in terms of circuit racing, it's just not been as easy this weekend. But we have got a couple of plans in the pipeline, a couple of things we want to do. But if we're not around, you understand that's why it is, because people are hard to tie down at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
In particular. So, I hope you've enjoyed his rambling.
Babble.
His nonsensical chat, which is standard affair. And the beauty of this actually is you don't have to hear the jingle as much, do you? You don't have to hear that sting of Gas It Out that so many people complain about.
I like it.
And there's not been as much swearing.
No swearing? No swearing. Wow!
I think I might have said shit.
Oh, well, you have done that.
Like that you put in the envelope to Chris Walker.
Yeah,
I think I might have said that earlier. So I really do apologise for saying shit. It's outrageous.
Such a wanker.
It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong right at the end. Right. Cheers, Neil. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
Please keep on listening. We'll have some more guests coming up.
Some good ones.
Very, very soon. Yeah, we've got some good ones lined up. So, enjoy the racing this weekend. That's the other thing. We just thought you probably got a bit of bike fatigue. Yeah. Like we're here with timing screens on our phones from World Superbikes, and we'll be following the British Superbike. Are we allowed to go into Donington? We're not allowed.
No.
We're not allowed down there. We were thinking, you could get popped down there, but we thought we'd just give you a little bit of update of everything that's going on. So enjoy your racing weekend. Enjoy the sunshine if you listen to this in the garden, and we'll speak to you very soon indeed. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.
See you. Love you.
Shush.
I look. No, I do. I look.
Yeah, that's creepy on a sofa.
Weirdo.